Today we're watching... I'm sorry. The movie opens in Bergen, Norway, at a scientific institute where this Norwegian doctor is experimenting on mice, and this mice is real sleepy. He gets put in a little toaster oven, and when that shit ding's done, bro checks on his little toaster strudel, and he's like, "Oh my god, I burnt it." Then he runs off to go tell his friend, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I burnt my toaster strudel, man." And then this guy gets up and he's like, "Oh my god, we did it." And he's like, "Oh my god, I didn't realize you have this big ass blind spot on your head." Sorry, I don't know why I'm talking like this. Then we flash forward to 5 years later, because fuck the last half decade. And now we're in Istanbul, Turkey, at a human scale and sustainability conference. And this guy's like, "I'm gonna welcome in a guy." And this guy comes in like, "I got a max. Look at me, everybody." Yabba, 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 yabba. We did some science experiments. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's talking about something important." Then he talks about overpopulation being the biggest issue for mankind. And then he said, out of all the solutions we could have come up with, we decided to shrink people. And then it shows that Norwegian guy was in the box the whole time. No fucking way. And then everybody gets up like, "Oh my god, is that a little dude? Little dude. Yo, take a picture, take a picture." And then he's like, "Yo, what's up, bitches?" Everybody sit the fuck down. Little dude's about to speak. Then bro starts chatting. And then he says you could shrink a guy down to 2,743 to 1. And then he's like, "We successfully shrunk a bunch of people. And that was 5 years ago." And this guy comes out with a trash bag and he's like, "I have a bag of poop. I have a bag of compost for these 36 people in just 4 years. And it's so little, it fits in just a small bag." A bunch of people get wheeled out on a cart, and they're like, "Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi. Here's the first 2 small babies." Bow, 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 bow. And then we get a title card that ironically keeps shrinking because it's the movie that's about shrinking people. He's like, "That's wild. Oh my god." I come home to my mom, and mom's like, "I ate, but I can eat more." And he's like, "Here's your food, bitch. Here's your food, mom." And then he explains to the shrinking thing, and she's like, "But they can't cure my fibromyalgia." And then he does some sus things from this camera angle. I can't really tell. But then he takes out a needle and squirts a little, which implies she's a heroin addict. Then, this movie really says, fuck the last decade, and jumps to 10 years later, as we show a bunch of schmeat in like a factory or something. I don't fucking know. He's cruising around. He finds someone who's got like a broken arm, and he's like, "I'm speaking Spanish to you so I could tell you to fix your fucking arm." Now he brings food home, but instead to his mom, it's his wife, because his mom died. And then they go to check out houses the next day, and they're like, "Damn, this is a really nice house. Yeah, it's awesome, but it's a little bit big, a little our price range, if you know what I mean." Then bro wakes up in the middle of the night and starts doing accounting, and he's like, "Damn, we're fucked." Then bro goes to his high school reunion, and everyone's like, "Damn, you did not turn out to be the doctor we thought you would be. You work in manual labor areas, but you just help people with physical issues, and you could have been more, but you fucked up." And then he turns around and sees his fucking friend from high school that's fucking shrunk and tiny, and he's waving at him. He's like, "Oh my god." He's like, "Dave?" Played by the fucking ever hilarious Jason Sudeikis, who is super underutilized in this movie. Hey, everybody. And then it's funny because he orders a gin and tonic with lime. But how are they gonna make a gin and tonic their side? It's gonna be huge for them. No way they prepared. And then Jason Sudeikis reveals the fucking truth, and he's like, "I'm not here to save the planet. I'm here to save my fucking life." Takes all the pressure off because you don't need to work anymore. Then they hear on their voicemail that they're overdue on a bunch of payments, and they're like, "Alright, straight to go get shrunk." And then Neil Patrick Harris is in a fucking like infomercial presentation kind of deal. It's trippy as fuck. Because on the camera, it looks like he's normal size, but you can see him in front of them. He's like tiny. And then he's like, "Look at my freaking mansion. It's actually a dollhouse because it opens in half." And then, "Oh, there's my wife. She's taking a bath. Sorry, everybody, about that. Sorry, Laura. I had such a busy day. I did all these nice things. No work whatsoever. I'm privileged as fuck." I also decided to buy a diamond necklace and a diamond bracelet, and it only cost $89. And he's like, "That's how much it costs for us to have food for 3 months. How could you do that?" And everyone's like, "Oh my god, so cheap. Oh my god." I'm annoying myself with this voice, but then they shows to them walking by, and they're seeing it all inside the tent, and they're like, God damn, this place looks nice. Side note, have y'all ever been to one of those places where it's like a mini town and you're walking through it? Like, I remember doing that when I was kind of younger and it was pretty sick. So this must be like that, except there's actual people living in it. And then they go talk to this lady who's trying to convince them to get like the deluxe package. She's like, yeah, I mean, isn't that kind of out of their price range? And then she's like, the year $152,000 translates to $12.5 million to live in for life in Leisureland. She's like, come on, you gotta do it. So then they immediately just go, let's fucking do it. They have a going away party at their favorite bar. And then you start seeing some cracks in Kristen Wiig because she seems like, oh, she's not sure about it anymore because she's gonna miss her friends. She's like, no, we'll be back all the time, which is fucking false. And her dad shows up and he's like, yeah, I don't think you wanted to actually do this. And then this drunk bastard at the bar is like, your guys are going to small, right? He's like, y'all don't deserve equal rights. You know this guy's a hardcore racist. You just know it. Then they get this keepsakes box, so they put in all their like stuff that they don't want to lose, like their rings. And then they go through this interview with all these like legal questions beforehand, and then it ends with them saying, do you agree that there's a 1 in 225,000% chance that you might just straight up die from this? And then they kind of have to say yes. And they're like, I didn't know this before, but they look at each other and they're like, yeah, I guess so. Then they get called up, and Matt Damon goes in first. I'll see you in 5 hours. And they start shaving all the heads of these guys. Then they syringe him and put him to sleep, and he's like, I'm asleep. And they shave everything. And they do some sort of butt stuff. I'm not gonna dwell into that, but this camera angle's fun. Then they have to go and get rid of all the artificial stuff in their teeth, like their cavity fillings and stuff. Then they administer the downsizing solution, take off all the things, and it's just a bunch of naked dudes in one room. And this guy's going through and he's just loving it, you could tell. Then they turn on the giant microwave and they get all shrunk down. He's looking in like, yeah, this guy's super sus, not gonna lie. Then they go back in and, oh my god, everybody's a tiny little person with a frat. Then you get a great scene with these guys as they're just doing their job, it seems like. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, she's huge. And then Matt Damon wakes up a brand newborn baby. But then he looks around and he's like, why am I here alone? Then he checks on his most important organ and he's like, it's still there. And this nurse comes in and he's like, you finally woke up. Would you like something to eat? And then she's like, I got that premium shit for you, boy. Oh my god. Ain't that cute? People just let him there. I think my wife's supposed to be here. You have a call from her. Oh, thank god. You're okay. Where are you? Don't be mad. I fucking left you and I don't want to do it. They start shaving my head. They start shaving my eyebrows, so I left. Okay, it's okay. Just come back. I'm not gonna do it. Get wrecked. Bye-bye. And he's like, frack. Now he has to endure his new life that he literally signed up for his wife. And now he has to just do it on his own. Then he makes it to his sick-ass mansion, but he's like so depressed because now he's alone. But then the keepsake box arrive and they start bringing out the giant rings and shit. He's like, well, that's about right. Then he sees on the news about a bunch of tiny people getting snuck into the U.S. with TV boxes and stuff. And apparently there was 14 that were old prisoners of war. Only one survived, and she got taken to the Leisureland hospital. This will be relevant for later. And then it flashes to 1 year later, and big surprise... Get it? Big? Or should I say tiny surprise? Well, no surprise, he's getting divorced, lost his fucking dollhouse mansion, and now he lives in a tiny apartment, and now he has to go to work at a fucking customer service office. Okay, so he had the dream, big ass mansion, and the wife, $12.5 million, but now he's back to square one. Then he goes to visit his friend Jason Sudeikis at his mansion, and then he's like, you gotta meet a single mom, dude, and have some fun. Then Matt Damon says, I've actually been seeing a single mom, and then it cuts to this. This is just fucking perfect. When you think about single mom, this is not what you typically think. Then he hears the party going on upstairs with his neighbor, and he yells up to him, hey, can we keep it down up there? And then fucking Christoph Waltz comes in to carry this fucking movie a bit. Oh yeah, I didn't want you to be too bad about the pizza party I'm having. And then he notices the giant fucking flower that he has in his apartment. Is that a real rose? He's like, why did you get the real rose? It's a cool place actually. I got it from your mother. Your bastard, you got me. And then he tries to kiss her, and she's like, you're a wonderful guy, but I don't think so. And he's like, bruh. So then he brings the rose up to Dushan and is like, let's get fucked up. He meets this guy called the Comrade. He's like a sailor. He has his ship with him everywhere. He's like, how do you get it from lake to lake? And he's like, FedEx, my friend. It goes faster than me. And then he meets little Ronnie, the first ever born child in this universe. Then Dushan says he just travels around and sleeps around. He's gonna be the first miniature person with AIDS. And then Matt Damon's in the middle of the dance floor, and some lady comes up behind him and goes, you look very schmicksy today. She pulls out a freaking pill, and he's like, I have allergies. No, thank you. And then she starts leaving. He's like, fine, I'll do it. Then the transfers from lip to lip. No one really wants to see that, but okay. Then he swallows it, and she's like, Okay, bye. Then you could see the immediate regret on his face. She's like, fuck, what did I just do? Cut to bro trying to throw it up and not able to pull trig. So then bro comes out and he's looking fucked up. The point where he's just approaching random people and he's like, I'm gonna take off my shoes. Now bro's in the middle of the party and he looks freaking tossed around. And then he sees Dushan and the comrade and he's like, are you having fun? Wake up to tomorrow. He's on the floor, absolutely hungover. Then the cleaning lady's coming and he's like, oh my god, you've got a weird prosthetic limb. Matt Damon approaches this lady and she's like, Vietnam. Oh yeah, she's the lady that escaped from the TV box from Vietnam. She was the prisoner of war. And they're like, ah. And then somehow Paul ends up going all the way across town outside of the dome to this extra little village of people that are freaking poverty. She's like, pretend to be doctor so you can make her feel good. And then she's like, she has tumor. She gonna die. Which painkiller's the best? And he's like, Percocet. Molly Percocet. Just give her one. And she's like, she really sick. We give 4. All right, let's fix your prosthetic. And she's like, nope, I'm tired. Fuck off. Cut back to the next day. And he's like, where's your friend? And she's like, oh, she died. And then she says this fucking hilarious thing.
I think maybe I give her too much pill. Anyway, she died very happy, smiling.
And then she's like, okay, fix my foot now. So then, of course, since bro doesn't actually know about prosthetics, he breaks the foot off. Cut to montage of him carrying her around everywhere, having to do her jobs, clean houses, vacuum. Then they start taking a bunch of spare food from places, from restaurants and stuff, and giving it to the people that are less privileged. And then Matt Damon's like, well, I guess I'll just become a doctor. And he starts checking out people and starts getting prescriptions for people. And then sometime later he goes full circle and ends up cleaning Dushan's apartment. He's like, ah, you're so full of surprises. And Christoph Waltz is like, I got you, bro. I'll get you out of this. I have to take Paul on a special trip. I need his help with this extra delivery. He says, we're doing a delivery to the original Norwegian camp, and we need Paul. He says the people there have been inviting her there so much, but she's never been able to go, too busy. But now she finally can. And she's like, thank you so much. And the guys are like, well, we're fucked now. Cut to some great landscape shots of them going on a tiny boat in a huge fucking lake. And then they meet with the original Norwegian scientist and his wife. And he's like, it's a shame, huh? The whole world's gonna end. And they're like, what? And it's like, the methane gas, it's killing everything. And then Matt Damon has some self-reflection where he's like, oh my god, I never thought I'd be cleansing a stump while doing a fjord on the boat with an Asian lady. And she's like, can we have sex? And she's like, okay. So then they bump butts, and the next day they're pretty chill. Then they get to the village, and they're like, oh my god, it's so cool, we're outdoors. Like, that's the original village. And they have all these people, and then there's this one crazy lady who's like, oh, Dushan. Hello. Hey, it's a pleasure to talk with you, but I have to go, I am busy. And then she takes them over to their top secret bunker, so it's not really top secret. And it's like, this is where we're gonna survive as humanity, because we're all fucked. We have a whole civilization underground there, and we got crops, we got buildings to survive several hundreds of years. Today is the last day we do outside stuff, because we are going to go into the bunker tomorrow. Then there's a quick cut to little Ronnie. You could see some sort of STD forming on its face, as a little sly callback from earlier. And they all start chanting, and they're like, bonfire! Then he starts convincing himself, I have to be in this bunker. It's my objective, or else what the fuck am I on this earth to do? Bear, you're crazy. Then the Vietnam lady's like, I ask a question, what kind of fuck you give me? And then Matt Damon babbles, and then she's like, oh, so it was love fuck. Why go do stupid thing in bunker when we can have fun outside? Just come with me. And she's like, no thank you, I have a cleaning business to go to. Then they all sit still and watch the sunset, and it's pretty. Then afterwards they all head into the bunker, and he's like, alright, bye, y'all. And it's emotional, I guess, if I cared about this movie. So Matt Damon starts walking down the tunnel, and he catches up to a guy, and he's like, oh, are we walking uphill? And he's like, yes. It prevents the flooding. It's just a few hours climb until we get to the descent part of the vault. And he's like, how long is the wall? And he's like, 11 hours. Stay hydrated. And then it cuts to the people outside. You know exactly what's gonna happen. Bro turns around, and he's like, I ain't fucking walking 11 hours. So he hightails it back, gets his bag stuck. Oh, go, it's gonna blow. And then you get this shot, which is just so good. Because at this point, you completely forget they're all tiny. And like, one tiny little explosion is just like, you know, a tiny little slide. Then they sail away. Then it cuts back to Matt Damon and Vietnam girl, and they're still getting food for the poor people that live outside the dome. It's like, this was my purpose. And then the movie fucking ends. That's it? Seriously? Okay. Going into this movie, I thought, okay, it's gonna be like a cute little rom-com with Kristen Wiig and Matt Damon about the life they experience when they shrink down and have to live in this new place, and they're gonna run into funny circumstances with being small, and it's gonna be funny, but nope. Immediately it pulls the rug out from you, and it was a rom-com, but it was just not good. Just wasn't good. I'm sorry. Had potential, was interesting, Good concept. Terrible execution. Terrible story. Terrible writing. Underused Jason Sudeikis. I don't know how you do that. Underused Kristen Wiig. Actually, no, I can't say that. Kristen Wiig is a fucking gem. She's so funny in this role, even if she was only in the first 40 minutes. The Vietnamese girl was funny but annoying at the same time. Kind of how to place it. And Christoph Waltz, we don't have to fucking talk about him. He carries any scene he's in, no matter what the role. Anyways, this movie gets a 63 ant-sized people out of 122.